This is the third video in a series I've done since December, capturing the effort, tools, and techniques I've used to become a successful YouTube presenter. Looking at starting your own channel? Want to know what it takes to get to 5,000 subscribers and get monetized in less than 6 months? Or just want to peel the curtain and see what goes on? Let's get into it.
Delivering informative capability-based reviews and tutorials on camera gear, filming techniques, and content creation.
Hi, I'm Simon and this is The Ordinary Filmmaker. If you're new here, subscribe to get notification of new videos as they come out. And all the links to everything I talk about in this video, including gear that I'm going to talk about, are placed in the description down below. So what have I accomplished? I started this channel around October the 27th. At least that's when I put out my first video. Then about 6 weeks later, I managed to get to 100 subscribers. Now, getting to 100 subscribers isn't that difficult. You get your friends to sign up, you get your family to sign up, your Facebook friends, and pretty quickly you get up to 100 subscribers. And what's nice about the 100 subscriber mark is you actually get your own unique URL. So you get youtube.com/c/ in my case, The Ordinary Filmmaker. So that's a huge accomplishment. It's the first time you get a notice from YouTube saying, well done. The next big milestone was reaching 1,000 subscribers and at the same time getting monetized, because I'd managed to get not only 1,000 subscribers but 4,000 hours of watch time. And this was huge. I hadn't even been a YouTube channel for 3 months and I'd been monetized. I couldn't believe it. I got notification and then they said, well, we have to review things. So I'm like, did I do anything wrong? I actually started reading the terms and conditions more than before, because before it seemed like something so distant. I didn't think I would get monetized for a good 8 months. You see, for most people starting out, it can take a year before you get monetized, some even longer. And at the earliest, it's usually around 3 to 6 months. So I waited, I wouldn't say patiently for 2 or 3 days, but I waited nervously. And then all of a sudden, I looked at my analytics and there was some money. I couldn't believe it. It was only about $5, but it was YouTube's way of saying, congratulations, you've done it. You're actually now earning money. Up until this point, 2.5, almost 3 months, I was working for free. This was a hobby, yes, but it was a lot of hard work. So that was a major, major milestone. I've also managed to hit 600,000 views, and I did this just today. I've also reached 40,000 hours of watch time. And just this past month, I managed to earn my first $1,000. And that's staggering. Think about that, $1,000. Now, if you put into context the amount of effort and the hours since going back to October the 27th, it's a terrible business model. You would not make money off this. $1,000 for what, 6 or 7 months of effort, averaging 3 to 4 hours a day, and that doesn't include the time you're doing reading or watching YouTube videos to learn how to improve your skills. But still, it was significant, because how many hobbies can you have where you make money? And I'm starting to enjoy this a lot more now. I'm not as afraid of the camera. You see, I'm talking directly to you, but to get to you, I have to go through this scary looking lens and this scary looking teleprompter. And no, I'm not using the teleprompter and reading word for word, although I am using the teleprompter, and I'll get into more of tools and techniques later. But I'm using the teleprompter in note form. So instead of looking at my laptop all the time, I'm looking straight ahead and I'm taking my eyes off the camera far less frequently. So that was also a major milestone, actually making that $1,000 mark. Today, I have 5,400 subscribers. 5,400 subscribers, 8,000 hours of watch video each month. And in the last 28 days, I have $800 in revenue. And that's really significant, because what I'm able to do now is I'm able to put more money back into the channel. I actually spent a good $1,200 of my own money in just the first couple of months, improving lighting, improving audio. I've got 3 microphones. I've got 4 or 5 different lights on me in the background. And if you've been here at least a month, you'll remember that terrible, terrible green screen I had. And I knew it was terrible, but it was a whole lot better than my other options. I couldn't use anywhere else up in the house because we have hardwood floors and we don't have enough wall hanging, so we had terrible, terrible room acoustics. And if you go back and look at some of my earlier videos, like my first couple, you can hear it. It's pretty bad. Well, as I started to get monetized, as I started to make more money, I started making further improvements. So now behind me, that's just a regular muslin backdrop. Yes, I do have plans to improving that later, but I'm waiting for this whole economic situation to clear up. And then what I would like to do is put some drywall behind me and maybe add a bit of a set. What do you call those things? Not cupboards. See, sometimes the problem with not scripting is you don't always remember the words you want to say, and that's okay. I'm having fun doing this, but I want to create a set that's a little bit more homey, not studio-ish. Linus Tech Tips, I love what he's done. Like, it's a huge operation, but even his sets seem like they're shot in his home, and they're not. They're shot in his studio. It's really incredible what he's been able to do. But another major milestone is my set. I'm actually quite happy with it right now. I'm no longer standing like I used to. I used to stand right here, and that made it a whole lot harder to concentrate. And I found that I wasn't myself. I wasn't able to add a bit of humor when needed. Funny thing about standing still, I find that it's almost like your brain is taking a certain amount of energy just to concentrate on standing. So I've got my lighting right. I've got two lights in front of me that are facing each other and they're just angled a little bit. I've got a ring light facing directly on me. And then I have a light on the ceiling pointed down towards me. And that's my simple structure right now. I have one microphone right here that's off screen. It's about 2-3 feet away from me. And that plugs directly into the teleprompter because my teleprompter uses voice activation. So right now it's frozen. I've just frozen it because I'm just reading points. And then I've got the microphone on me, and of course the microphone from the camera, I use that to synchronize. So I don't hook any microphone up to the camera, I'm just using the built-in microphone. So how did I get here? Well, to understand how I got here, you really have to take a look at those first few videos that I talked about. Here's a clip of one of my first videos, and I don't know what I was thinking. I set the camera on auto, I had auto exposure, auto ISO, and look at this, you can see the exposure changing, and I was using jump cuts as though I thought they were the best thing. And now listen to the audio. And photo, a direct competition to the GH5, although it's absolutely terrible. Well, it was my first video, but I got better. And one thing I've learned in my regular career is that whatever you do, it's good to have a vision and to write it down. And a vision is simply that. It's something that's going to happen in the future. It's your guiding North Star. It's a distant point of which you're aiming towards. You could think of it as a goal, but it is the guiding goal. It's singular. You have one vision of where you want to be. And if you think of it from the American Cancer Institute, their vision, for example, could be to see the elimination of cancer within 20 years. That would be a good vision. It would be very difficult to achieve, but that would be a very simple vision. And behind that, you would have tons of goals and objectives. So, and if you watch this video on how to get to my first 100 subscribers, I've talked about that in detail, but the importance of having a vision to guide you, and then to have goals. And my goals included things such as to improve my presentation skills. And I think if you watch that video, you'll notice that I'm a lot more at ease in front of the camera. I'm a whole lot more relaxed speaking with you. Other goals included to improve my lighting, to improve my set, to get monetized within 8 months. And actually that one's more of an objective because objectives, they have a little bit more detail. They're a little bit more down to earth. An objective is specific, it's measurable, it's time-based, it's realistic. It's something you can go back and look at later on. Did I reach that? Did I meet it or not? To improve your presentation skills, sure, you can measure it, but it's a lot more subjective. And then, of course, there will be opportunities as you're producing your videos. Now, I've produced quite a few videos since I started back on October the 27th, but they've changed a little bit. Now, my vision, you're probably well aware of it because it's really, well, it's at the beginning of each video in that intro, and it's shortened a little bit, but my vision is essentially this: to deliver informative news, rumors, and reviews on camera gear, content creation, and filming techniques. But you'll see there's an awful lot of news and rumors. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and this is the next segue into the next piece about network. Using your network is very, very important. But I want to talk more about alignment. And when you start to see that you're maybe shifting your content, you're creating more of one type of content over another, I was focusing heavily on news and rumors because it's May. This is when a lot is happening. We're expecting Sony Alphas. We're expecting a Panasonic camera. We're expecting, well, Photokina was supposed to happen between May the 27th and the 30th. So we're expecting a lot of things. We're expecting Canon cameras. And everything has gotten deferred. But still, a lot of news was coming out that month. And when I was talking to a good friend of mine, Peter Gregg, who has his own channel, he said, you know, I see you as the news and rumor guy. And I wasn't quite sure what to think about that right away. I took it in, the news and rumor guy. My first reaction was, well, no, I'm not just news and rumors. But then I thought about it and realized, I am doing a lot of this lately. Okay, I've got some negative comments on this, and I spent some time thinking about it. Well, okay, is this in line with my vision? Yes, it is aligned. It's about delivering news, rumors on camera gear, content creation, and filming techniques. So it's still aligned with my vision, but it seems to be a little bit more focused on camera news, more like CNN, the Camera News Network. And somebody said that to me. They said, you're like the Camera News Network. So I didn't run away from it. I embraced it. I thought, well, let's take a look at analytics. What did analytics, Google Analytics say? My views were going through the roof. I was getting 12,000 views a day on average. My revenue per day was going up. I reached as high as $76 US in a single day, and this happened on multiple occasions. Google Analytics, or sorry, YouTube Analytics is saying, well, you're getting the views, you're getting the comments, you're getting the engagement, you're getting the revenue. Yes, I'm losing some viewers, but you know, let's stay this course and see what happens. Now here we are in June, and already I'm starting to produce videos that are not so much about rumors. Yesterday I did a piece on looking at the lenses that are coming out this year, and yes, part of it is rumor, but part of it is factual. We have announcements from Canon. And then there's this piece, which is again about content creation and what it takes to set up a channel. This is my third in that series. So it is very much aligned. So if you start to see yourself going off kilter a little bit, ask yourself if you're aligned, because if your channel is all over the place, it's not going to perform as well. Once you start to narrow down your content and differentiate, you're going to do better. But networking is very, very important. And for me, it was instrumental. Because I was willing to admit I wasn't producing good content, because I was willing to admit I needed help, I was able to seek it out. And what I really liked about Peter Gregg's channel is, A, it's very uplifting, it's very friendly, if you've had a bad day, just listening to Peter will put a smile on your face. At first, when I started watching his channel, I thought, that's a little corny, something wonderful is going to happen. But you know what? After watching your first video, you go, yeah, this is very relaxing. So I noticed at the end, he talked about a consultation, and it's $50. So I thought, well, what have I got to lose here? I've already spent about $700 at the time on gear. Why don't I reach out to somebody who's been doing this for 10 years? So I did. I called Peter up, and we talked for a long time. Peter he says there's 15-minute sessions, but if you've got questions, Peter's not going to be rushing you off the line. It's the best $50 you're going to spend if you have any questions on camera gear, or if you're thinking of setting up a channel. And I've started doing the same thing myself. In the comment section down below, you can, for $30, I'll also provide a consultation. It's a 1-hour consultation. But I learned a lot. Peter helped guide me with lighting. He helped guide me with set. He helped guide me with microphones. And it's just stuff that I'm still using today. So the lighting that I have right now, Peter actually remoted into my computer. He's also using Final Cut Pro, which is what I'm using. So he was able to very quickly guide me in saying, look, you might want to change your colors here, use a mask here. And my results improved dramatically. I just say in the last month alone, after the last consultation I had with Peter, things are just way, way better. So networking is very important. I also reach out to others. I know Chris. He started, I think it was just a couple of months ago himself, and he's already at 1.2K in subscribers. I don't know if he's monetized or not. Very sort of down-to-earth guy, always talking about barbecuing or drinks that he's tried. Kind of a very, guy next door review of stuff. And I've talked to him. I've talked to James. James he's around 1.3K subscribers. He's also new like me. And I can't stress enough networking with people who are on the same level as you, as well as, if you can, people who are doing better than you, because you can learn off each other. And that network will help you. It'll save you a ton. But also, you've got an amazing resource in your viewers, your subscribers. Thanks to Augmented Gravity, Stephen Hogland, Frederick Larson, Mara, Jerry, King Salmon, so many more of you, including Peter Gregg, who has given me some wonderful comments as well. I know there's a ton of you that have given me good advice. I haven't always taken it, and I haven't always acted on it right away. But your viewers, your audience, they provide you with a lot of information. Now, you do have to use some level of judgment. You do have to sift through them and figure out, is this going to work for me? Like, I would really love to be able to give away an R5. I just can't do that right now. Everything that's coming in, I'm putting it towards getting an R5 for myself. But around Christmas time, to be able to give away an R6 or an R5, I'd love to be able to do that. And if I can't do it then I want to be able to do it next year. I love the idea of giving back to the community and at the same time give me the ability to grow. So don't be afraid of networking. Get out there, talk to people, engage. And even just going to other people who have sites, and when you put a comment down, just don't say, hey, great video, you want to be friends. It comes across as spam. Watch their video, give a comment, provide something insightful, and then try to reach out and say, create a dialogue. And it won't always work, but sometimes it does, and that's how things started with Peter Gregg. It started with me just commenting on a few of his videos before finally reaching out to him. Your publishing frequency is very important. Since October the 27th, I've published, if you can believe this, 150 videos. Yeah, 150 videos. 6 of those were me experimenting with live streaming, which I've decided not to pursue. That's 150 videos. When I first started, from everything I read from what Think Media had put out there, because Think Media I found to be an excellent resource, said more or less, well, 1 video a week. Stick to 1 video a week, your audience relies on that day, and you'll be successful. Well, I found when I was doing 1 video a week, I just didn't perform very well. I didn't get a lot of views. I didn't get a lot of subscribers. You've got to know your season. You've got to know when the news is coming out. You've got to know when people are watching and engaged. You've got to know when your industry in which you're covering is in its conference season or its news release season. And when those happen, that's when you can get a lot of views. One of the reasons why I got to 1,000 subscribers and monetized in less than 3 months is partly luck that I was doing it this year instead of last year, but starting January to about, I guess, the end of June is when we were going to get new announcements. We were going to get new announcements from Canon, from Panasonic, from Sony, from Fuji. All of them were going to be releasing new camera bodies and lenses within this time because of the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Canon and Nikon both released their flagship cameras, and the other companies aren't going to let Canon and Nikon get all the news or get to completely own the news cycle. So I was lucky enough to cover, I think, was it the EOS R Mark II or the 1DX Mark III? I can't remember which video it was. I think it was the 1DX Mark III, but I got my video out long before anybody else did. I had a good 6 hours. And that video alone was responsible for me getting monetized and getting all the watch hours I needed to get monetized. I think I had, it's still my biggest video, 41,000 views from that one video. So if you hit the right video, you can get monetized right away, but you don't know what it's going to be. Just publish as information comes out, publish as you get creative. But you can't go once a week. You can't go once every 2 weeks because people aren't going to, I don't know why, but you're just not going to get the views. You're not going to get the eyeballs. And also, engagement is very, very important. Now, what do I mean by engagement? YouTube well, this is very important to YouTube. They look at if people like your videos or if you dislike your videos. Now, whether they do like or dislike it, almost doesn't matter as much. Obviously, you want to have more likes, but a dislike is an engagement. A like is an engagement. A comment is an engagement. Participating in a community poll is an engagement. Now, the one big thing you get, I forgot to mention this, but if you get to 1,000 subscribers, one thing that YouTube says, hey, congratulations, now you can do polls, you can put out videos, you can put out daily statements or videos, photos, whatever you want. In the community section, you can put that stuff out. And as you know, if you're watching on a regular basis, I'm doing that almost daily. Quite often, I'll put out a poll in relation to a video that I've just published to sort of engage further, to get you guys to comment more. And when you do comment, I engage, I respond. And I do this regularly throughout the day. I do it on my breaks at work or lunchtime, and I do it when I get home. Now, obviously, I'm home all the time now, so I have a little bit more time to do this. But engaging with your audience is very important because you start to connect, you start to create relationships and friendships, and you're more of a personality instead of just this guy on a YouTube channel. Some of these guys, like even Fro knows, I've reached out to Fro and he's responded back. Ordinary Everyday Dad, I think it's Everyday Dad, he engages as well. Some of the other big guys, Casey Neistat, I think it's his name, and Tony Northrup, I've never been able to get they don't seem to, or maybe they get too many, I don't know, but never really got any engagement out, and that's fine, but they're already successful. If you're starting out, engagement is very, very important. And don't be afraid to change direction. If you see an opportunity, and again, it is aligned with your vision, that's very important, don't be afraid to pivot. Just like I did, I kind of focused on news and rumors in May, and it really, really paid off. The use of technology plays a huge role, a significant role, an integral role to your channel. I have a MacBook Pro, no, not a MacBook Pro, an iMac Pro. It's just over here, my editing suite is over there. It's not really a suite, it's just more or less a desk in the corner of the basement. And it's just a base model, but it is powerful, it is fast. By the time I've finished editing, it only takes me about 5 to 8 minutes to export it. And when I say export, I mean it's ready to go into YouTube. And then YouTube takes probably another 5 minutes to upload. So I'm looking at a total of about 15 minutes from the end of when I create my video to having it on YouTube servers. Now, while it is uploading, I'm putting the title in the description there, I'm putting the tags there, and I'm putting the thumbnail. So all that stuff is ready to go. So having a really fast machine makes a huge difference, especially when it's timely news, which it is for me. So if the R5 is got an announcement coming out, I don't want to be waiting an hour doing rendering, doing exports. I don't want to be the 5th guy out there. I want to be the 1st guy out there. So having that speed makes a huge difference. But there's several other things too. The other types of technology. I've got the simple 11-inch MacBook Air here, and I use this for if I'm covering lenses or something that's a little bit more complex and detailed that you just can't put into a teleprompter. I've got that right here. It's very simple and easy to use. And actually the teleprompter is, well, it's many different pieces. It's not just you go out there and you buy the Glide Gear TMP 100 and you've got everything you need. You need a tripod. The TMP 100 sits on top of that. The camera fits on the back of it. Then you need an iPad or some sort of tablet. You put that down, connect it up. Then I've got a microphone. Then the shotgun mic is attached all the way into the iPad. All that just to do teleprompting. So why the microphone? Well, the teleprompter app that I use listens to my voice. Now, right now, I've just got it set on manual because I'm just going through point forms and there's no need. But on a fully scripted video, as I read, the teleprompter will move at the same speed that I do, which is really awesome. Now, if I decide that, oh, I forgot to write something in and I want to go off script, no problem. I can go off script. It'll stay there until I continue reading on script. So that's very useful too. Other technologies I use, I don't spend a lot of money on storage. I basically just buy a 2 terabyte SSD, a Samsung Evo, I think they're 860s, and I buy one of those every year or two. A lot of my videos, I kind of delete them after a couple of months because I can always download the full one from YouTube, and I really don't have a need to go back into them once they're done, so I'll clear those out. So about every 2 years I need a new SSD. Now if I get the R5, which I pretty much think I am, I'm going to start shooting more 4K and 8K, then maybe that won't be enough, but getting these RAID devices, no. Just back up your stuff every now and then. Simple videos like this, I only need it for a couple of hours. Once I've got it on YouTube, I really don't need it anymore. It's more the run and gun stuff that I'm doing for family, friends. That matters a whole lot more. I want to keep that stuff a little longer and archive it, but I don't use anything fancy with storage. Now, in terms of, this is an interesting one. This is, in a way, it is technology. Talk to anybody who's in makeup and they'll tell you the technology behind it's quite incredible. Don't be afraid to use makeup. Now, I've left it upstairs, but one of the problems I have is my face gets very, very red, and sometimes what happens is it gets very blotchy, especially right around this area here. Or sometimes I cut myself shaving. Now, when you're at work talking to people, they really don't pay attention to that because, well, it's a little rude when you don't look people in the eyes. But when you're on television, people will find everything that's wrong. So if I do have a blemish, I'll use some concealer and I'll cover it up. If I've cut myself shaving, same thing, cover it up and you just won't notice. I actually cut myself on my nose shaving, if you can believe that. And again, I just put a little bit on there tonight. So that's really, really helpful. The microphone that I use to capture my audio is a Tascam DR10L. It's pretty good. It's around $200, I believe. It does a pretty good job. It's not top of the line, but you know, it's so easy to spend a lot of money and you really don't need to. Now, it records into not a wireless unit. It just, there's a cable that runs down here into a little box that does the recording. And then when I'm done, I just connect that into my USB or I pull out the SD card, and if it's a really big one, and then I just offload it. It does a really good job. It records 2 audio tracks, which is really, really handy. And that has really helped improve my video. The basement where I'm in, it's very well insulated. It's got carpet. The entire basement floor is carpeted, and insulation runs all the way around the walls. So it does a very good job of absorbing sound. So I don't have any poor room acoustics. Now, in terms of software, there's an amazing amount of software that you can use, and a lot of it's free. The first software that you really need to get used to is Google Analytics. It's amazing the amount of information you can get there. Seeing how well your videos perform, looking at how much money you're making off certain videos, being able to look at keywords, being able to look at where your audience is from, what countries they're coming from, what languages they speak, are they using subtitles, all that wonderful stuff. But it's not enough. I find that Keywords Anywhere is a great little plugin tool. It's pretty cheap. It's $10, and I've had it for about 3 months now, and I haven't had to top it up. But a lot of times when I'm researching a video to do, I take a look at which keywords are popular before I start developing the script, before I start developing the story. What is popular out there? What do people want to watch? Now, there's a free version of this. If you go into Google search and you just start typing, Google will sort of fill it out ahead and give you about 5 or 6 different options. And what Google is telling you is that these are the most popular. Now, where Keywords Anywhere takes that is they tell you how many cents per click you're going to get. They're going to tell you how popular it is, how many views a month that this generates. So that's really, really incredible too. Canva.com is great. That's how I create all my thumbnails. It's very quick. It's very simple. They have a paid version, but the free version, if you're starting out, is more than enough to be able to help you create professional looking thumbnails. I've been using it for months, and I think they're getting a lot more better, a lot professional, and I'm quite happy with them. In terms of editing software, I use Final Cut Pro and Compressor. Compressor is how I export the file. So I'll say I want to use YouTube. I'll drag that down into there. I could also do H.265 as well, but YouTube has its own settings, and for things to get published and ready in time or processed, you want to go with what YouTube recommends. I also use Pixelmator. Pixelmator is it's cheap. It's around $40 US. I used to use Photoshop all the time, but Photoshop is very expensive. Pixelmator, it was $30. And I haven't paid a cent since then. Now they've come out with newer versions, but this gives me everything I need to do. It's got all the basic tools that I need, and I'm quite happy with it. And of course, on the iPad, I have Teleprompter. So I've got one app on the iPad, and I've got another one here. You can't see it on my phone, so I can actually advance ahead by pressing here, and that really helps save a lot of time. So instead of me getting up, going back over to the teleprompter and moving the script up and getting the lens to refocus again, it's all done right here. So that's very, very helpful. Now, when you're creating your thumbnails, what's very, very important is you want to avoid that that you don't want to look like clickbait. Now, I still get people accuse me of doing clickbait, yet my thumbnail matches my title, which matches my description, which matches my keywords, which matches the content I'm talking about, and that is not clickbait. Clickbait is when you come up with a thumbnail to get people interested in your video, and then you really don't talk about that at all. For example, this is why I'm quitting YouTube. And yet you don't talk about why you quit YouTube. You're not quitting YouTube. You're talking about the level of effort that goes into YouTube and how you have doubts. Well, you're not quitting YouTube. That's a bit more clickbait. What's very important is you want to really carefully think out your title and your description. And if you can, do that before you shoot the video. Your keywords, they should all line up very, very well. You should have the thumbnail that matches that as well. So when people see it, they're drawn in and everything you say matches and lines up against that. And there's lots of free tools that will also help you analyze your tags to see how well they're lined up with your title and your description. And that is very, very important. But what's really important is you want to be engaging. You want to get your best angle. You want to be yourself and use a sense of humor. And I'd say now, as I enter my 7th month, or is it my 8th month now? I'm starting to time just flies by so quickly. This is more of me and who I am. Not a lot of jokes. I don't see the opportunity for jokes, but I'm a lot more myself. I'm having a lot more fun doing this. And this video, as I can tell, is going a lot longer than I'd hoped it to be. I'm trying to be brief, but there really is so much to cover. But you want to be yourself. It's very, very important. So what are some of the other big lessons learned? Well, start with small projects. Don't try and do an in-depth review of anything. Don't try and do a 40-minute video. Start simple. Try to do a 3 to 5 minute video. Be concise, be clear, be coherent. And don't be too serious. Avoid perfection. Have fun. When I started out, I tried to do everything perfect. I didn't want to make mistakes. I would normally cut that out. But now, sure, I will do retakes if it just doesn't come across very well or if I seem too stiff, but I'm not afraid to leave in a couple of errors. Be yourself, have fun, and have a conversation. Because if you start to have a conversation and you're talking directly to your viewers, you're not talking to the camera, remember that you're having a conversation, you're informing, you're being yourself. Treat the camera as your friend, and most importantly, be transparent. Don't tell half-truths. Your audience can tell if you're being transparent or not, if you're being honest. They may not right away, but you'll find that your channel won't grow as much if you're not being honest and transparent. And if there's certain information you do not want to say, then don't. But say that. Don't give half-truths. It's just not going to help you. Oh, one last thing I forgot to mention. I should have mentioned this under technology, but vidIQ. I know I'm not getting paid to say this, but vidIQ, they have a free plugin for Chrome. And what it does is it looks at your title, your description, your keywords, and it gives you a score. And if that score is under 40, then you probably need to tweak it a little bit. You want to make sure that all the tags you're using are lined up with your title and your description and vice versa. And it does a really good job. It's different criteria that it uses, such as the length of the keywords, the types of keywords, and it's got some really awesome tools. The free version is terrific. I tried out the $15 a month version, and I personally didn't notice a huge improvement. But when I talked to the manager in charge, he said, well, you're already doing very, very well. What they consider successful is if you're getting about 10 to 15% views within about 24 hours of your total subscribers, you're doing really, really well. So, well, if I'm not getting a benefit from paying the $15 a month, then I wasn't going to pay it, so I just went ahead with the free version. But that's it for now. Links to everything I've talked about in this video, including all the gear that I've used, they're found in the description down below. Thanks for watching The Ordinary Filmmaker. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you for watching The Ordinary Filmmaker. All equipment used and notes are placed in the description box, show more box, or down arrow thingy next to the title on the mobile app.